going to call this meeting to order of Pointer Village Council. It's January 24th and it's 5 o'clock. Is there anyone with pecuniary interest? Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. So skip to delegations, and we have Mr. Steve Devlin here to talk about low speed vehicles.
Yes, sorry for my, woke up this morning with a bad cough. Try to get through this best I can. I guess Jim had sent some pictures of my vehicles earlier for you guys all to look at. I just want to say thanks for giving me the chance to speak about the low speed vehicle bylaw that we passed. The reason I'm starting the service to begin with is just to give an alternative to the taxi industry right now. A fun, unique experience. It'll be all electric, 6 passenger plus a driver, so seven people in this electric tuk-tuk. I got them custom made in China. That's a different story altogether. About try to get them made here, but cost and all that. So I got them custom made to meet the Ontario regulations for the Highway Traffic Act. There is a pilot program in Ontario right now to allow these vehicles on the road. So that's the road I went to get them custom made by. The feedback has been overwhelming, emotional. People can't wait for me to get started. It's a low cost, so I'm only charging people $5. And if you bring up that map, Jim. Look at that. Oh, that's all right, Paul. Make it a little smaller. Smaller. Yeah. On the far right hand side, at the very top, where the green starts, that's Mitten Village. So I'll be going down Wellington into the downtown area. So Sarnia has already passed the bylaw to allow me on the roads. Into the marinas, hopefully. And then down Venetian, up to the casino and Purdy's, under the bridge, down Michigan, up front, across Exmouth to Christina, and then back up. And that will be a loop 7 days a week. I'm not too sure of how many times I'm going to be able to do this in a day. It's all going to be learning experience this year. But that's my goal, 7 days a week, $5 to hop on. You can hop on at the start and get off and point at it, or vice versa. I do have other vehicles. I'm going to have 5 vehicles by the summer. I have 3 right now in Sarnia. I'm hoping to have like a private rental for entertainment at nighttime and stuff like that. They only go 30. I took it on a test drive. It goes about 37 kilometers an hour. I think the max rate you can go is 32, but with people on it, it lowers. That's all I have for you guys.
Tim, we'll start with you. You have questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
So you've got approval in the city.
Yes.
And what's your offer there
My offer.
to them? Like Mitten Village
Yes.
and waterfront?
Yes. So not on the pathway, just on the roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, okay, I did a little research on this in the
Yeah.
Sarnia bylaw.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do the waterfront, I don't know if you've read this, but
Look for Front Street.
you're not allowed on Front Street, Exmouth Street, London Road, like
Yeah.
any county road
County
within the
roads.
city, and
So-
and some arterial roads.
Yeah.
So, and that's because the health unit did object to,
No, well, they didn't object.
well,
That was one, it was, so I read that letter. That letter was her opinion on safety for the roads.
yes.
I talked to her after anyway, but it's the front, the county roads is being discussed right now to be on front. The county, the reason that I gotta explain what the county road is because of financial, not because of speed limits or busyness, it was just all financial. So I'm not allowed in the country, Holden Road, London Road, or,
Because I'm just wondering, like, you're looking at Venetian, you're looking at Front Street, you're looking at Michigan Ave,
Yeah.
they're all county roads in Point Edward.
yes.
So,
Well, it's gonna be, I have to be a bylaw passed in order for me to be on. it.
yeah. I just-
Yeah, yeah.
If you're aware, that's
Yeah,
all,
oh, yeah, yeah.
you know, until, you know, what I read on this, so.
Oh, but the county road, it can't exceed 80 kilometers. If it's under 50, I can be out.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'll let,
Yeah.
I'll let you figure that out,
Yeah.
but that's not what I read in the bylaw. Anyways,
Yeah.
I thought, you know, I better bring that up right
Yeah,
off the bat,
that's okay.
you know, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I still have, like, it's January right now, I'm probably not even gonna be up and running until May, probably. So I've got lots of time to talk to OPP, talk to the Santa Police, talk to other traffic officers. The county, try to come together and make this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for the routes, you're charging $5 and they can hop on anywhere. Are you gonna be
Yep.
stationed somewhere? Like, how will people know that you're gonna be?
Yeah, so in the next couple of months, I'm gonna be talking to businesses about stopping in front of their storefronts. To see if they want me to stop there. And then once I start doing the road, I'll know how many stops I can make to make it time efficient for people to hop on and get somewhere within a reasonable time.
So the idea is to go to different businesses and allow them to hop off, like a hop on, hop off
Yes.
trolley
Yeah.
type thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then I guess my
Yeah,
second,
it's not like a call thing. You can't call. There's another service, a taxi service, that I'm trying to get underway too, that you can call me. Those are for other services, but this
Okay.
bylaw is just for.
just for the hop on,
Yeah,
hop off. Okay, and then you're saying you're gonna rent it for separate like tours, right? From-
Yep.
You won't be allowing alcohol though on the,
No, I'm not allowed. I had a meeting with the Santa Police. And that's definitely-
all right, those were my questions.
Yeah, they don't want any type of, because like I even researched limos, like limos, everyone drinks the back of limos, but it's not allowed. It's up to, it's the responsibility of the party that's drinking that will get the fine, if the driver won't get it.
So our issue, we'll need to have follow-up with the county because the roads that you're gonna want to use in Point Edward,
Yeah.
as Councilor Lundy mentioned, are all county roads to get to the river.
Right.
I just.
Yeah.
Sarnia Bay has their own service for their boaters that live there. I don't know if you talked
They have a
about it.
van, yeah, I've been kind of talking to some people
Yeah.
over there.
It might be something they might be interested in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Paul? Councilor?
Who's gonna be the driver of these?
Like me to start, I work for the Coast Guard. I get lots of time off. I had 3 months off this summer to get this underway. I do have family that's gonna help me out, my retired father-in-law. My cousin is a teacher who gets the majority of the summer off. I'm gonna start with just family first and see how busy I am, it's gonna be a learning summer, and then I'll go from there.
Is there any licenses required?
No, just a normal license. This, the other, you're reading the provincial pilot program. You're not allowed to be, and people under 8 years old cannot ride in it either. And I have to wear a helmet. The passengers don't have to.
I would think that you would.
You say it'll be opposite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any regrets?
Well, just if my argument with that was like if someone's going out for a night on the town and they do their hair and then they're putting on a helmet, I'm like, they're trying to set me up for failure right there. I'm like, I don't mind wearing a helmet, but the pass- there's a safety cage on top.
Mhm.
Through you, what are your proposed hours of operation?
Yeah, again, it's all learning. Hopefully from 8 to 5, Monday to Sunday. And it all depends on, so I have to build a storage facility with charging. And it all depends on how many, so they're about 120 kilometers a charge. And depending on the amount of people in it, it's all depending on my logistics of it, but I'm hoping to do it from 8 to 5.
And not to keep pushing on this county road issue, but is your interpretation that you can't be on a county road that has a speed limit over 50?
Yes.
But from my reading of it, I thought it meant that the county would have to give you approval, much like Sarnia and Weir doing,
Right.
for you to be on one of their roads. Is that
Well, that'll be my next step. I'm gonna-
to the county?
Yeah.
And just to clarify through it.
I did have a couple of meeting with some sort of city councilors, like on our off time, having a coffee, and that was it. We talked about going to the county and getting that.
Just to clarify through the CA, we can't pass a bylaw or approve this use on county roads, even though they're in the village, right? The upper tier would.
I think we should probably talk with everyone we can.
Anytime in the past we've done anything with their roads, we've done it only with their approval.
Yes, yeah.
But I think your recommendation would help.
Just that county roads tend to be busier roads in the village and is the right place for your vehicles to operate, right?
Well, it's just like, well, my argument's not to seem combative, but it's just like a motorcycle or a bicycle on that road. I'll be to this, it's not like I'm going down, so I guess I haven't really explained that well. I won't be going, I'm gonna try to keep to the side as much as possible so that I'm not right directly in the middle of the road. I'm gonna try to keep, it's not, if you're trying to get somewhere fast, this is the wrong service road, right? This is like a sightseeing, touristy type of taxi service. Trying to keep to the side, trying to keep out of trouble, trying to keep everybody safe, I guess.
And the rest of my questions are more like I was doing for the report later. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you want me to follow up with you? Yeah.
Um,
Do you want me just to come back and let you know?
We'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk after the meeting and figure out where, what direction the council that you're on.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
Move on to the adoption of the minutes. You could group them, whatever your wish is. First one is council minutes from December and January.
I'll move. I have one.
Seconder, Council Drury. All in favor? Thank you. Actually, there was three. But I said December and January.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay, thanks. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Later.
I just have, so the minute, there are the minutes here from our the wastewater treatment plant budget, right?
Yep.
So I just have a question.
January 10th, yes.
In our budget package, there was a letter from Point Brewing. We never addressed this part of the budget. Will you be replying to them? Because they had 3 questions directed to us.
I can reply, like I acknowledged the letter and told them to consider it at the meeting,
Right.
that before we tell the council,
Right.
but I can reply to them. The result of the meeting on this too.
I have a further question on that. When are we gonna send out a public notice on the rates?
Yeah,
There's also.
that's what
Yeah,
That's
the
what you
media
mean.
release.
Yeah,
like,
I knew he was working on it.
Something to get out in the media.
Move on to financial reports. First one, general operations from December.
Okay.
You
I'll-
lost.
I'm lost.
You got him back on track. We're all right.
I'll move that the total revenues and general operations for the month of December 2022 in the amount of $145,474.89 be approved, and that the total expenditures in the general operations for the month of December 2022 in the amount of $1,324,381.54 be approved, and these are unaudited financial statements for this month.
Seconder. Counselor Drury. The next one, oh, all in favor. Sorry. Next one is environmental services. Counselor Burgess. I'm looking the right way this time.
Move that the total revenues in environmental services for the month of December 2022 in the amount of $2,211.69 be approved, and that the total expenditures in environmental services for the month of December 2022 in the amount of $496,423.93 be approved, and the updated financial statements for the month of November 2022 showing revenues of $98,196.17 and expenses of $121,496.38 be received and filed.
I'll second that.
Second by Deputy Grimes.
Just point out it was 86, but
Okay, I was trying to make it bigger. I was trying to squint it in.
I'll leave it $10.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. First one is operations.
I move that the minutes of the Operations Committee meeting held January 10th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
Second that.
And all in favor? Thank you. Next one is fire committee.
I have a
Sorry.
question.
Yes, I forgot to ask if you had questions.
Yeah, I was just, with that operations, and we're talking about the boulevard trees, is that gonna come up later in the meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
It's in our new business.
just because I knew that was part of the
Yeah,
operations
under new
committee, and I want to
business.
make sure that we were.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Paul. Environmental services.
Look, by
Oh, skip. Oh,
I'll move that the minutes for the fire committee held January 10th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
Seconded by Council Burgess. Any questions? All in favor? Environmental services, January 10th.
I move that the minutes of the environmental services committee meeting held January the 10th, 2023, be approved as circulated.
second that.
Seconded.
Good questions.
Questions?
At either this meeting or the budget meeting, the manager was essentially asking about his building committee and when that was going to get back on track. And I know I sent an email to you a while ago where the meeting was scheduled, but never happened. So is that, he seemed to be very desperate to get that back on track.
He's working on getting some information together.
Okay.
He's got quotes from 3 different engineers, architects, different people for the design of the building. And he's working on kind of separating it from data because they've basically given us a price to including the inspection during building. And we want to get it broken down. Like we budgeted $22,000, I think, for design work. So he's trying to break that piece out so that we get, when we do pull the committee together, that we can give them as close as possible to an apples to apples comparison of those 3 proposals. So it's taken a bit of time to do that.
That's really why we haven't had a meeting, because there was nothing for him to report on. We need that information to be able to make a, have a meeting and have something to talk about. All in favor? Finance?
I'll move that the minutes of the Finance and Administration Committee meeting held January 10th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
Second that.
Any questions? All in favor? Move on to communications received and file 1 through 5. I don't know if you want to do conservation separately. Greg, would you like to talk about that one? So do 1 through 5 and then we'll do conservation separate.
I'll move that we move to file 1 through 5.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? And then next item is St. Clair Conservation Authority.
Yeah, I'll move that we receive and file the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority update. And just, I think everyone in this committee knows that the Bill 23 is creating very significant changes to how the conservation authorities in Ontario operate. So this update does talk about how their role in supporting municipalities and the county is changing. It's causing quite a lot of concern within the conservation authority and municipalities because they're going to lose a lot of their ability to protect wetlands, heritage properties, heritage areas. And it's also going to has the potential to transfer a lot of costs. Conservation authority is care of back to the municipality as far as planning and different things. So there's a lot of information in there, but just I'll keep you posted as this moves forward.
I think it's very concerning for that organization. And we're losing a lot of protection that they provide.
And a lot of knowledge. That's the other
Yeah.
thing keeps coming
Yeah.
forward. They have a lot of staff
Yeah.
that know our wetlands, know our conservation areas, know
Shoreline.
flooding and all that like, and that's being ratcheted back. So
Would I get a second on that? Yeah. Sorry, thank you, Councilor. All in favor? The next one, going into new business now, procedure bylaw review.
So this is the bylaw that passed 2 or 3 years ago. It was last updated around with COVID to allow for electronic and hybrid participation in meetings, offsite participation. But there's also a commitment to review it every term of council at a minimum. And so that's what this process is starting today to see if there's any feedback. There were some comments that were circulated by Deputy Mayor Grimes back in October, November that I've circulated for the meeting. So just looking for feedback, if there's any discussion about what Deputy Mayor Grimes discussed, or if there's any other feedback from council, things they'd like to see change.
Deputy Mayor Grimes.
thank you. Just a couple quick housekeeping things we're going to do. On page 3, it refers to bylaw 12 of 2020. Yet at the bottom of the procedure bylaw it states that bylaw 12 of 2020 is repealed. Are we able to refer back to a bylaw that's been repealed?
So on page
3, right at the top, it should say something like this. It says, as required by 2020. And at the very bottom, we state that bylaw 12 to 20 repealed and replaced with this bylaw.
I will look at that.
All right. And then in this copy, we continue to refer to a shared drive and notifications in a shared drive. And I thought one of our revisions, we took all those out. It seems like they crept back in.
We used to have it. It used to be a specific drive, and we changed it to shared drive.
Oh, okay.
Right? I think it used to say
We're
a
pretty
Chevy, and if we start using a Ford, the Chevy wouldn't apply, so we use the term,
shared
shared
drive to
drive
refer to
in
e-scribe.
yeah,
Okay.
and anything
Yeah.
else. Well, no, not necessarily e-scribe, it's more about, I guess it would apply to e-scribe too, but I think it's more about the OneDrive where we save our files,
Right.
but it would apply to both.
Because we don't use OneDrive very much anymore, like for council.
Well, yeah, right.
We do everything through e-scribe, but it's like a shared drive, yeah. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can modify to move up the delivery of the agendas to us. I know right now it's the day before at noon. The meet before noon.
Yeah, I'm not, I know I usually try to get them out Friday
Right.
by noon. We can,
But it's not in the bylaw as a,
no, you and I
Yeah,
talked about this
it's
a
in
while
there.
ago, and
but not Friday at noon.
It is in the bylaw today. That was Friday, I think.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, 'cause that was another one of my concerns. 'Cause this agenda grew
Yeah,
rapidly through the weekend, or between Friday and Monday.
so that's what I was gonna say. Should we be in our procedural bylaw saying that it's Friday at noon? And then anything that comes along that's urgent needs some sort of a approval or of council to amend the bylaw? Or,
You know, I would be fine with that because it makes it a lot easier for us if things cannot be added after that date, after that time, it makes it. I mean, not a lot changed between Friday at noon and
Steve,
today.
the package of
Um,
material came in.
The stuff came
His
from Mr.
picture.
Devlin and something else.
Yeah, yeah. But
there's
there
one
was-
one item per
There was
$30.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Friday, at noon, okay, so
So-
there was the sign one popped up, and,
Stuff from Dave.
yeah, that
Okay.
popped up.
And
Date
like, I
these.
have no problem.
Wasn't that in
It
there
would-
Friday?
No.
But I guess the question becomes then, are we at risk of an urgent item not getting dealt with if we have a hard and fast deadline?
Well, you can always have the ability to call it. Like if at
At the discretion.
at the discretion of the CIO that there was an urgent something or other.
Yeah,
Same as calling an urgent
Can
meeting.
we outline what an urgent?
I would feel like he should be able to know.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
To
I think he
define
knows
it would
what's
be
urgent to
difficult.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be hard to define it, but if there was something that had a date, like a response was required immediately or something like that. But, I mean, he should recognize what's the most urgent.
And I mean, ultimately, it is council decision. Like if I bring an item forward and add it after that initial
deadline.
deadline, council will say, no, we're not.
We can table it. couldn't
Yeah,
we?
absolutely. And
Yeah.
that, absolutely, that can be done. And
And then just my last one, in the procedural bylaw, under new business, it talks, in my reading of it, under new business, we should be bringing forth notices of motion. So what I would say, at the next meeting, I'd like to discuss garbage pickup. This is a note, and then it would move to the agenda. It says, however, items can be carried forward, but we tend to use it as for last minute things or public announcements. And I wonder if we should be creating an agenda item that's specifically for community events, community announcements, and urgent items. And I notice there are a lot of municipalities that do that. So your new business is clearly set up for bringing forth a notice of motion of new business. And then treat that other category for, so the councilors can bring forward an urgent item or something they want to share with the community.
Well, I think we've been doing that, but just not labeling it like that.
That's, yeah, it's, yeah.
So
Just, all I'm saying is creating another category so that it's there and identified as such.
Mr. Mayor, I've got one on agenda, on adding to the agenda here. It says here that no later than Friday or Thursday at noon. That's information into the CAO to be included in the agenda. I'd like to see that moved earlier in the week. And that way we will have a stable agenda by Thursday or Friday. Except for urgent items, right? Because we seem to, as I said, we just keep adding items on. And I'd like to have, something that's
Well, some of them have
not
come
as
from
robust.
counselors saying, I want this, this, and this on the agenda.
Well, it's up to the counselor to get it in early.
Okay, but that's how things get added.
Yeah, I know. Just that everybody's aware of when the cutoffs are.
I don't want to make it so prescriptive that we're doing it so far. Like, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it cut off way early in the week if
Yeah.
we're going to miss something.
Because our agendas have grown.
Well,
I know we're busy. But we can't stop that.
I don't mind the current, Friday at noon. That gives me all weekend to read and all day Monday and all day Tuesday to check in or ask questions that needs to be done.
Could we, through you, Fulton Company, leave it as it is? However, if items are added after Friday at noon, that we receive an email drawing us back to you. I know when you update, eScribe sends us a thing. A lot of my eScribe things go to junk because I don't open the e-scribe thing. So just a quick email saying I've added 3 items since Friday noon. Here they are. Have the weekend.
But we just said we weren't gonna be adding unless it's important.
Well, council, we just said that we were feeling that we don't want to get that tied
I
down.
thought that was a different thing, that Tim said things at the beginning of the week for Jim's agenda on Friday.
Right, okay.
So you're cutting things off pretty early.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you feel, Jim?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
sorry.
hard.
So I think it would be
CAO burns.
nice, I think it'd be nice if counselors have items that they would like on the agenda to let me know by Monday or Tuesday. Because that gives me a couple of days to gather some information together.
Exactly.
And that would be appreciated. And then the general public, I mean, Mr. Devlin contacted me probably about 3 weeks ago, but we just put together that he would actually come to the meeting on Friday or Thursday or Friday. So that, you know, it was kind of a last minute thing. The report on low speed vehicles would have been on the agenda. He was added kind of last minute thing. So I think for public, it's a little bit different, but I think for counselors, it would be nice to have that, you know, if you want a report on apple trees in the park, it'd be nice to know that as much notice as possible, so that I can get some information together on it. I actually this weekend, when I posted the agenda, I sent out an email that said I'm going to be I'm expecting 2 or 3
What was
things.
coming?
So I'm trying to do that more because I wasn't aware that e-scribe notices, like I thought they were going to everybody and they're getting them.
So they do, if I don't open them consistently, then they head over to the
Okay,
junk folder. So
okay. So yeah, we can do that. No problem. Like sending in a quick email saying the agenda's posted. I'm expecting to add these potential 2 items between now and Monday. And then it's not hard to send another email when I do that.
yeah, that'd be
So,
helpful. Yep.
So you're publishing noon on Friday.
Noon on Friday.
If someone wants to be here to present, what's their cutoff date for
Um,
you?
I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah, I believe it's Wednesday. I'm trying to find
Okay.
It's on page 80.
page 80.
Yeah, section 15. Oh, okay, on there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a page.
Oh, that.
Yeah, the red page. The
Does it say what clause is it?
It's
Councilor Mondo?
15E.
Page 5, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
page
items
5,
for
yeah.
agendas shall be delivered in writing to the clerk not later than noon the Thursday prior to council.
So it's the day before you do your agenda.
So you want to move that up?
Um,
Because that allows you time to do the necessary research.
That's the latest.
yeah,
Right
that's
now.
the latest, right? I mean,
If you're talking to somebody, you would confirm them that you'd like to have it by whatever day,
Yeah,
Tuesday. But after Thursday, you could deny somebody.
I think we should just leave it at Thursday. I mean, like Mr. Devlin, I told him I need it by Friday at noon. That's when I try to publish the agenda, so I'd like to have it by Friday at noon to keep, because you guys, Councilor Mondu was going out of town and he likes to print the stuff off to have a look at some of it. So I mean, it is good to get information out to the councilors as soon as possible as well. So I think if we leave it at Thursday, because generally material, if there's material that comes in from a resident that I'm not, that getting it on Thursday at noon and I don't have time to deal with it, it just won't, I'll bring the item forward, let you know that I got contacted by a resident with an issue, but I won't expect a decision about it. I'll just put it on the agenda to say, this is here, I received this, I'll have a report for it either, or I'll ask for it to be referred to a committee, right? Like that's happened in the past where it's, somebody maybe is requesting a sidewalk to be replaced. So I would bring it forward. You wouldn't get a whole lot of information on the issue other than a recommendation to refer it to a committee.
Because ultimately it comes back here and what after committee does it. Councilor Drake?
For this bylaw, is there an option to put in orientation of new counselors? So Lanark County, if you look, they have a really good one laid out about their orientation. I just think like going through orientation this time, it'd be nice to just have a checklist or something in here that I knew I need to do all these things to get myself orientated with council.
And they have it in their procedural bylaw?
Yeah.
I would think it'd be easier to put it elsewhere, but we can,
It's almost.
Be a
yeah,
separate
to me, it's
Yeah.
not really the right place for it, but to
Okay.
have some kind of a, like I'm putting together a folder in my OneDrive of all documents that I think should be
Mhm.
shared with a new counselor, and I've
Yeah.
added things to it
Yeah.
specifically this year, so, but I mean, if they have something,
They
I
have
can look
something
at
written
it
in this.
and-
I looked at it, actually sat with one of the Lanark
Yeah.
members at training, and so she said, oh, they have an orientation checklist right in their procedural bylaw. So I brought it, I can send it to you. I
Yeah.
brought it up at the time, so it
Yeah.
just, it'd be nice, like you need to go on site visits and do some, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things you need to get done, but
it is something that we certainly can improve on. So whether it goes in the procedural bylaw, to me, it's not the right place for it, but put something in place for better orientation, absolutely.
feel like I'm getting now.
Actually, the procedure bylaw would be something that would show up within the orientation.
Right.
package.
Yeah,
Code of conduct.
Yeah,
all those.
yeah. Lost my agenda.
so what I'll do, I mean, it's good that these meetings are being recorded now, so I can go back and look at some changes. I'll make the change to the bylaw, bring it back to the next council meeting, and I'll just kind of, I'll indicate where the changes are, what's staying the same, what the changes are, and move forward and get that from you, Lauren, for the
Yeah.
orientation, work on what together for that as well.
So
No, but that's, I gotta go.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the next
I'll
meeting.
just figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Right there.
Thank you.
Sorry, you lost
It
your
might be
mic.
this one.
Okay, I got it. I got it here too.
The next one is
Go back.
social media policy. I'll turn it over to CAO Burns to discuss.
So again, this is a new policy that was talked about back in the fall. And I reviewed a couple of different ones. This one is basically it's from Wyoming. And they put a fair bit of work into their policy in the summer and fall of last year. So there's some changes to it that I think apply more to us, but policy that I'm recommending for approval anyway. Questions on it?
Councilor Mondu, do you have any questions?
No, I just want to thank CAO Burns. That's the one that brought it to their attention because we got a request from the Ramsey County Trails Committee for all municipalities to file or to hand in their social media policy. We didn't, we had a gap. We didn't have one. So because they're going to be sending out media notices on our behalf that we can share and that if we get the policy. So I appreciate that. It's rather, I did have the copy of the Plimpton, Wyoming one, and it's there's a lot of words in here. But yeah, no, it's good. It's what we need though, right? In today's environment. I have no questions. Or no, nothing else.
No questions. Oh, Councilor, sorry.
I just have a couple quick questions. Under the administration section, is 12 hours sufficient to reply to somebody with weekends and our staffing? It seems like we're setting ourselves up for failure there with only 12 hours.
So
Or, you
I
know,
think that is setting our goal is 12 hours. It does say that it can be impacted by staff availability and resources. So I think that covers off. I mean, if I'm busy and don't look at social media for a period of time, well, and I'm not the only one that does. Kara, our receptionist, does it as well a little bit.
Should we put a caveat that on weekends, weekends and holidays may further delay the response, just so that there's no expectation of 12 hours?
It-
I think
it
it's not
certainly,
monitored
Doesn't it
24
say
hours.
business, that's business hours, I think, right?
yeah, it does say business hours.
Yeah.
Within
um,
12 business hours?
Business hours, yeah.
And then it does,
So it's like a day and a half.
yeah. And it says it's monitored Monday to Friday, so I mean, it's kind of covered, maybe, I mean, I think what you're suggesting would be more direct than the way it's covered, but I think it is.
Okay. And then the policy 6 from 51, will you be modifying the header of it before we make it our policy? Because it's got numbers in it that don't apply to us. And just so that.
Yeah, up here,
Policy number
actually, I've
138.
changed those all, like I've changed them since I circulated.
Okay. And then, now that we have a policy, I guess, should we be looking at our management of our social media longer term as far as, our Twitter account, Councilor Gordon is maintaining on our behalf, but should we be bringing that back in-house or former councilor? And then we don't have any presence on Instagram and Facebook. I know you're managing, but is that the best use of your time, right? To be managing social media for the village? Is there somebody else that could step up and help with that to improve and increase our presence?
And so there, I mean, the receptionist does help with it a fair little bit.
Yeah.
She's taken over kind of constant contact part, piece of social media, and then you can link Facebook to that. Instagram,
I'm
get
assuming-
those ones, yeah, Twitter we have, Instagram we don't. I don't know much about Instagram. What I do know about it, I don't like, but that's, like, I don't find it. And maybe it's because I don't use it, that I don't find it as useful.
I
But,
think people use Instagram more than Facebook now.
Yeah.
Like Instagram's like the, I would say,
Yeah. It's evolved.
in my demographic for sure.
so, I mean, we can learn different tools and see how things work.
And I just wonder if maybe we should schedule, if Kara's gonna, help out, maybe some training on those so that we can get the best bang for the buck out of our social media presence. Because it is, you have to be there, right? The days of we're not gonna bother are behind us. So it's a great way to get the message out, a great way to get our word out. So I guess maybe we would do like a report or some sort of your thoughts or something like that.
I'll see what I'm not sure what capabilities lie within the office for Twitter and Instagram. I can look into it.
I was just gonna say, Instagram and Facebook actually can be linked. So anything you post on one can post on the other. So you don't have to actually create two separate posts. You just link your Facebook to your Instagram and then both will get posted out. So it's no more work to do both except for setting up the account once you link them.
Does that work for Twitter too?
That's
No, from Instagram, you can share to Twitter, but it's a sloppy share.
right. Facebook and Instagram are like it says share your post and it actually formats it. So your Facebook post and your Instagram post both look proper no matter which platform you post it on.
And that's because they're owned by the same company.
Yeah, they're both better.
Yeah. Where Twitter's a different universe.
Did you need?
I'll move that we receive and file this.
Seconder? Council Kerry. All in favor? The next thing is about the Sarnia Golf Curling
No.
Club. Sorry.
That one,
Sorry. I have an old version. Okay, number 4, or now 3, strategic plan.
so since I wrote this report, I've reached out to another provider, I suppose, for this service to get a comparison, to get another comparison. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with all the clerks, a few of the CAOs from the county, and asked them what they were doing around strategic planning. And this proposal is is less expensive than any of the other proposals that they were talking about. So, but I thought I should get a second proposal just to have something, you know, concrete to compare it to. I think everyone probably knows Mr. Boyle and what the work he does. So I would be comfortable using Mr. Boyle, but if you're wishing to wait and get, I'm told I'll have a second proposal at the end.
So just to the CEO, would that mean we'd have a report next council meeting? Because I don't want to delay this any further, because we're already looking at probably late spring, early summer. Right?
Mr. Boyle's proposal is to have it done by June.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what timelines will be in the new, but it will have time. I'm sure I'll email the gentleman and make sure that he puts timelines in.
Okay.
So that we can compare. Again, it's gonna be hard comparing apples to apples because one, you know, the amount of time, it's difficult when you're doing that type of thing, but I will ask him for a timeline so we can kind of weigh the costs, weigh everything into the equation. If you, I don't know if you want to go ahead and make the recommendation here is to enter into agreement with Mr. Boyle's proposal. I don't know if you want to wait and see what the other proposal comes back. I can take it to the finance committee, and that's 3 weeks away though. It's almost time, so there's 3 weeks between the committee and council. So what I can do when I get the proposal, I'll send it out to council and we can deal with it electronically. Potentially.
But what you're saying is, well, you want to receive and file this
Table
report
it,
for now?
I would say.
Table?
So that's your recommendation that we table it?
I think so until Friday and, well,
I think, yeah, I think if you've engaged another provider and he's preparing a quote, it would
Can't cut
it
them
would
off.
be very respectful of us to
No.
approve a contract tonight. If that person's putting good effort into it.
so I will,
So I'll make a motion to table it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
And, you know, you make the council, it has been a long time, but at the same time, we want to do, this is a pivotal document now, we move forward, so.
Yeah,
so
it's not something you rush.
another month's not gonna, like, so.
Just as an FYI, I'm going through that process with Basis. They've engaged a company that's doing strategic planning. Sit down with this person next week to answer some questions. So it's underway for that organization, which is the old CARE. Basis is now CARE. I mean, CARE is now
Yeah,
Basis.
there's no basis.
Yeah, so they're in the midst of having a strategic plan done.
okay, so the next item then is the road closure policy. So we've, as a report, there's a couple of occasions where we might need to use a policy for this in the next period of time. This report is just to say that I prepared a bylaw and to use in these situations if need be. So I don't know if there's any questions if the bylaw comes up later on.
I'll move that we receive and file with your report.
Second that.
Second, Councilor Creed, all in favor? Number 6, low speed vehicle use in Point Edward. Presentation.
So again, there's a lot of information here. I think the county road issue, I think we need clarification. What's, you know,
Well, it's critical to our decision.
so I think probably we can receive and file this report as the recommendation and then table the bylaw. Until further talk with the county a little bit. We'll see what they're gonna do.
I'll move that we receive and file.
Seconded by
I just have a couple of questions if we're gonna go that route. The bylaw that has been drafted is land insurance bylaw.
Yeah.
In my reading the report with Sarnia, they talk about they want to limit it to only commercial or business purposes and not for the general public. The land insurance bylaw doesn't mention any of that. So should we be waiting to see Sarnia's bylaw and since we're gonna be crossing over with them more than North Shores, should we have our bylaw more in line with theirs?
So Sarnia's bylaw is very, very prescriptive, like it, you know,
Yes,
the
I got
Lampton
a copy of
Shore,
it.
the Lampton Shores bylaw just says you need to follow the Highway Traffic Act basically, and, you know, refers to the rules, where Sarnia's spells them out word for word, just takes the legislation basically right out of the, it takes the, you know, if there's about, I don't know, 10 or 12 criteria, like they have to have seat belts and you can't be under the age of 8, and there's a, you know, you have to have a windshield with a defroster and a windshield wiper, like there's a list of things.
And that's in the Sarnia bylaw?
That's listed all out in the Sarnia bylaw. The Sarnia bylaw is about, I think, 4 or 5 pages long.
Yeah, a little longer than that.
Yeah,
I think about 10 pages
Yeah.
total.
10.
But they do go into a lot of detail, where you can park them, where they can drive. Yeah, who can drive, who can't.
Sometimes too much
Micromanaging.
detail trips you up.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to need to be licensed by the police
And
with
the
their taxi
taxi.
bylaw. So we don't like, we have taxis in the village. We don't manage that. That's managed through the city. So this would be managed by the city taxi bylaw.
And I told Mr. Devlin that if this gets approved, I will want copies of your taxi license and your insurance.
Yeah.
Just so that, you know, so that we're not allowing this to go on and not really knowing if he's done his due diligence, to make sure he's
Yeah.
following the rules.
Yeah.
But
And
So-
these vehicles have to be registered with the province as well. That's part of the,
So I guess my question,
there's a lot of administration behind the scenes. Yes.
because we're so closely tied to Sarnia's, I'm just wondering if we should not adopting their 5-pager, but it's somehow in our bylaw, maybe even referencing that all conditions of the Sarnia bylaw must be followed to operate within our community, because it relates to the taxi licensing, right? Because we don't do taxi licensing.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm not.
Got a fine structure in here, everything.
The Lampton Shores report stated the OPP had serious concerns about safety and enforcement. Yet our report said that the OPP had no concerns about the operation of these in the village. Was that primarily because of the different types of roadways in Lampton Shores and knowing that our roads are primarily low-speed roads?
yeah, I would say so, although his comments were more about just the use of these vehicles is governed by the Highway Traffic Act, and as long as he's meeting the Highway Traffic Act, like, they didn't have any concerns with them as long as those rules are being followed.
Big difference driving around Lambton Shores in the summer, like trying to drive through Grand Bend and like then drive in a village. That's probably why they're concerned. It's just more congestion.
That actually is better for them. 'Cause I've driven them in, I've
Well-
ridden in them in Asia and
Yeah.
everything is congested and they're not going fast.
Right.
You know, so that brings the speeds down,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, they're not allowed on highways or anything like that. So that's, you can't put them on a highway. You know, they're basically designed to be run around gated communities. That's the whole idea of this. And now it's got moved onto the roads by the
Well,
provincial government.
I've used one in Florida. There's one in where I go, and it just, you drive to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Hop on, go to the restaurant, and you know how busy Gulf Boulevard is, right
Mhm,
along there.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's changed a lot too
Yeah,
over the years,
and
yeah,
they just sort of drive over to the side and you give them $5.
yeah, yeah.
Just another comment. I have a concern, like, we do have this concern with speed in the village. Right? That's why, one of the reasons why we're doing the traffic study. And you've got these vehicles that do 32 kilometers an hour. And you've got, you know, some people that drive above the speed limit. So how is that gonna mix? You know?
We
and-
already have that situation in Point Everett with the little car. Who drives on the
Well, yeah,
road,
this
right?
is, yes.
The little thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really no different than a a bicycle being on the road. If somebody's, riding their bicycle down the road and doing 25 kilometers an hour, that doesn't give the guy in the car doing 50 the right to run them over.
No,
Right,
no,
I
but
mean,
these can drive out in the road. They don't have to be off to the side.
Well,
They
that
can
is
drive,
bicycle.
they can drive right down the middle. So I'm just, concerned about,
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but, and I'm not, the province has come in and they've had their experts look at things, and they have, they have said they're okay to use. I'm not, I don't know if we have the expertise to say they're not safe.
Transport Canada doesn't think so. But anyways,
Well,
we get, you're reading all the reports on it, and I see a lot of negative, right?
But I hate to see somebody can't have something like that because people might speed. So then the speeders are in control.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up.
No,
the
I'm just
safety
giving you
aspect.
the other side of it.
Yep,
The
that's
speeders
right.
are in control, so we have to worry about, they might
Yep.
drive badly.
So the suggested motion is that this be received and filed because this will be dealt with in the bylaw later.
Yeah, and I think we should table the bylaw.
Also move that we receive and file this report.
Seconded, Council Burgess. All in favor? All right, number 7, bail reform.
So I'll move this because I did bring it forward to Jim. And it-
Too late now.
So I just, and I wanted to thank Jim because he added all of the municipalities properly for me because I think I missed a couple or had a word wrong. So appreciate the CC. So this is basically the premiers of the provinces and territories have written a letter to Prime Minister Trudeau asking that bail reform be reviewed. And I think if you watch the news, you've heard about the police killings and the people being released and the catch release. So it's merely a letter from our little village stating that we support the premier's request to the feds to do some bail reform and to take this seriously. So I don't know if we'll actually sway them, but I just would like to show our residents and the OPP officers that and CSA to protect us that we take care of and we are making a statement. So
Just an FYI, it's been picked up also by police boards. So the police boards are getting together. It's got something yesterday, I think,
okay.
wanting everybody, all the boards to support.
So, seconder.
Yep. I'll second, Council Billy. All in favor? Move on to number 8. We had discussion about this at our last meeting, so this is back with the formalized policies towards the changes that we discussed. in conference expenses.
The one thing that's come up since I circulated this, some of our employees, like it's Arena, not so much Arena, the Environmental Services Department, they may go away for training and it might be called a conference, but they are required to go for a certain amount of training, so they might go more than once a year to get the required training they need. So there's a piece in here, like I said, that the number 7, approval for any expenses outside of this policy must retain a resolution of council. That's if if somebody's gone to one council and something, or one conference, and something else has come up that somebody would like to go to, and council agrees that it's important for them to go to, they could be allowed to go by motion of council. I think we need to address from the staff standpoint too, or especially around training, that employees can be permitted to go for the training they're required as well. And I think should be governed by the budget.
It wouldn't be a council
No,
No,
decision,
it
it's
doesn't-
just,
it
it's a
doesn't-
staff
It doesn't
function.
come to us.
No. So
We did have that discussion to explain what some of the differences are when there's mandatory training, because I actually forgot when I got out of here that night, we had the discussion about, especially in the water department. I had the same thing on my job, and I had to track all my attendances and the points, and it had to be done annually in order to keep my certification. And I totally had forgot about it at the time, but there are some things that are mandatory towards work, so there's a way to work that into the verbiage.
see, I
Yeah.
think we should just add another clause. that
The
says that-
exception would be,
Yeah, exceptions to this policy
Yeah.
for staff attending for training
Right.
purposes. So,
That's a good catch.
And I'll put in wording about it being controlled by budget
Right.
allowances.
Actually,
I think it should be the approval of the CAO. Because you may want to go over budget on training if it's something you have to do,
well,
right? Like, that's your accountability.
Yeah,
but the manager also sets his budget. For example, water, environment. He knows who needs what for their next tickets. So when he's doing his budget, I think he's considering, because I've heard him say, 3 of them need
mhm,
this training. So part of their expertise in putting their budget together is recognizing who needs what. I mean, something could come up too that you don't know about, but
Yeah, that's the thing. If a fourth one comes
Yeah.
up, then the CAO can approve that
Yeah.
and find the money and do whatever has to be done to make it happen.
so I'll add something in, covers us off in those
Yeah.
situations. Did the report cover everything else we talked about though? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is really just for information and make sure that I covered everything. And it's a staff policy basically that covers counselors as well.
So we
It doesn't need
just
to be-
receive and file? I'll move that we receive and
Council
file.
Undo, seconder, Council Curry, all in favor? See, okay, number 9, Boulevard tree planting policy.
So this is, I pulled this out of the operations committee report because there were some recommended changes. The main one around, I think we had named a specific nursery to be contacting, so I changed those. I could just say we contact the nursery for advice on plantings and such. And then the other one was an addition about replantings taking precedence over new plantings. So I pulled it out and wanted to deal with this policy separately. So again, just information purposes, it doesn't need approval from council, it's just that's what the policy will be going forward. If there's any, I mean, if there's something I missed, please let me know. But
Got a question on this,
Councilman.
CAO. Did you say that there's the one clause that bothers me? Please note that properties along county roads and streets are not eligible for this program, as the boulevards and roadsides are county property, not municipal property. As being a homeowner who lives on a county road, that impacts the residents on Michigan Ave.
I think it needed follow-up with the county on how to deal with
I know we did get an answer from Imran, and I can't remember what it was at the time. It was a text message, I think, but I'd like to get clarification on that.
that. Yeah, that's you too.
Yeah, well, you
Me
as
too.
well. That's right, I
And-
forgot, sorry.
And-
You're near the neighborhood.
And I have 2 properties.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll do some
Yeah.
follow-up with
Okay.
the county on that.
I think
See
they've
what,
let us continue the program on their property, but we need to clarify.
Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Question. The limit on the tree value and the planting cost, when was that last reviewed or?
I don't know for sure because I don't.
So my question is, should we be looking at just increasing it to a more fairer amount on the cost of a tree and planting, like say $500, then anything above that would be homeowner's expense. Combine the tree and the planting together, increase it to 500, and then above it is the homeowner's expense. I think this, I suspect this price is probably old.
So the only thing I would say to that is then we are, it's going to affect the program. If we budget $5,000, right now we'd be able to do 15 trees, reduce to 10 trees.
Or we change the budget of budget.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly right.
So maybe we need to bring forward the budget and look at well, whatever the budget amount is, whether we're increasing it.
Because I mean, this policy can be changed.
Yeah.
It's, but especially something as simple as those numbers, they can be changed. Very quickly, so.
I was just last year, I think we only had 5 requests, right? So
I believe so.
are we using our full budget, like maybe there's money left, as Deputy Mayor Grimes suggested. And I mean, I've bought trees recently, $200 is not getting very far at,
The second year, I can look it up, what we budgeted and what we spent.
I'm sure there's no money left.
I think something was like 5.
So there's a budget line here for brushing and trees. We budgeted 7,000 and spent 4,400. So it's not, that's not the only thing in the budget line. There are,
It's tree trimming and
Yeah.
everything.
so it's not quite as black and white as,
So like if we had to call Guardian in during an emergency and they worked for us, it was in there,
very well could, yes.
because we had to do that around Elks Park. Elks Park and Elks, a couple times on the storm. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. Counselor Burgess?
I have a question. If we have a tree that goes down through disease or accident, we immediately replace that tree. Is that covered in this?
Immediately replace that tree.
I've never found that there's a specific replacement policy of existing boulevard trees. I was just curious about that.
I give you an example. I think of one that happened on my street, not me, but they had a problem and then they contacted the village and asked to get a replacement. So there was attention paid, you know, it was noted that it was gone and then somebody followed up on it. So it was replaced.
Think of an example, Victoria and Louisa, 2 boulevard trees were removed pre-COVID and haven't been replaced, but the reasoning was that the root structure in the boulevard is such that you can't just drop a tree in. So they were gonna come in, like remove a lot of the roots and get the earth in better shape for the kind of trees. So it's not immediate. No, those trees have been up for a while.
Is that down towards my street?
Whether it's Liz Page's boulevard,
Oh, okay.
Victoria was in it.
I know on my street on Victoria, there was a boulevard tree. It was one of those Norway maples or whatever that we have all over the place. And it was deemed unsafe. It was starting to lose large branches and dying. And fairly shortly after it was taken down, they had replaced it with a nice flowering, tree. And I didn't know if that was the policy, if that was immediately replaced because that tree was dying. And I know those maples tend to lose a large amount of branches. One of the tree was going through, I think it was today, doing some trimming on Victoria Street. There's a couple on Victoria that I saw got trimmed quite a bit. But I didn't know if that was a policy. Somebody on St. Clair Street asked me that a while ago. They had lost their boulevard tree through garbage truck or something, came by and took a big chunk off and ended up taking the tree down, but they never got it replaced. But I told them I know we were going to do our revitalization there. And our engineers were telling us how much they enjoyed tree planting. But I didn't know what the case was, if there was a specific, or does a resident have to request a tree if the boulevard tree goes down, and that is there a discussion with the resident about what they want?
So there's no policy prior to now.
Yeah.
There's a practice and basically managed by the operations manager working with his team. There's no written document telling them what to do with this. I don't know what the practice, like I've had very little to do with it.
It's on the insurance.
I don't have a lot to do with it.
I just know a resident called me once and said, hey, how do I get boulevard trees? I'm on Ernest Street, but my site was on a corner. And I said, call our operations manager at that time. And he got back to me, he said, yeah, he told me there's too much overhead and too much underground, and that's why there's no trees there. Problem solved,
Mhm.
but I was just curious on some of them, like on a dead dying tree, what is the urgency? And I know we've always budgeted
Mhm.
for trees replacement or whatever.
So this written policy that we have now, we will set up a spreadsheet. Right now, if somebody calls, the way it's been done in the past, we refer them on to the operations manager. We're gonna start maintaining the list in the office, just to take a step out of it. The policy says you have up until the 1st of September to request your tree. There's no need, like the receptionist can take that information. We'll have it on a drive that everybody in the office has access to, so it doesn't matter whoever answers the phone, put that information in. And I've asked Kara to prepare something, so it'll have, a name and a phone number and an address and an email address potentially, maybe what type of tree the person might want. So I've asked her to put something together that normally what information they would want to gather and what information a resident may want to provide. And we'll maintain that list. And then on September 1st, we'll give it to the operations manager or, whatever things look like at that point in time. We'll give people that are going to make decisions at that point. And we'll ask them that if they have trees that they would like, we can put them on the list as well. Like if a tree comes down on Louisa Street, we can add that to the list so that they'll get forgotten that there was a tree that got taken out in a storm on Louisa Street. We can't repair it this year, or we can't replace it this year because of the root structure, or because of whatever reason. But at some point in time, we want to replace that tree so we can put it on a list. And then, an Excel spreadsheet, you can do it year by year by year so that you never lose. We'll start this now in 2023. If there's 12 trees on the list and 7 of them get planted, there'll still be a record that those other 5 will still be there. There'll still be a record that those requests were made and they can be looked at, they can be moved forward.
We have existing requests right now.
I believe so, yeah. But again, we're gonna send out a communication to our residents saying, if you want one, let us know.
Okay, so that existing list, is that going to be like clean or
No.
start over?
No, we'll use that as kind of a base.
So if our staff remove a tree, they will report it to the office
Yes, we'll
that
ask
they
them to.
removed a tree.
Yep.
And then can Kara add a column in the spreadsheet indicating whether the tree is a replacement or a new tree? Because I think that is in our
It's
policy.
fairly easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know one went down on Alfred Street, right across from the service club. It was incredible. I saw it walking home from the school with my kids, and it still hasn't been replaced, but a few other ones have. And again, it was one of those Norwegian maples
Yeah.
that seem to have good branches.
And I'm quite certain that there's been times where Public Works Department has replaced a tree completely outside of this request system. But we'll try and integrate them together so that we're.
Yeah, I like trees. I know there was a time on St. Clair Street, they'd have those crab apples all the way down, and in the spring it was pink balloons all the way down St. Clair Street, and it looked great. But a few of them have aged out because they probably were planted 40 plus years ago.
Well, that'll be another. Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, like, okay, so,
Look for motions.
this policy should be.
I'll move. See the file.
And then along the same line, we have the request from Diane, George Bolter. Yeah, Diane, George Bolter, and Andrew Bolter, sorry. Made a request at the last operations committee meeting to ask the council to reconsider their decision of December 13th to not allow a tree at 19 Mott Street.
So I'll make the motion to reconsider.
Okay, I will,
We have to vote.
I want to make a
Yeah,
comment.
just a second. Yeah. can't make comment on a
Reconsideration?
reconsideration. You can't make comment until after the vote.
Okay,
After the vote's done,
Sorry.
then that's when you go
Okay.
ahead.
That's
It's
fine.
it's open
yeah, that's fine.
for
It
comments.
works for me. Okay, all in favor? And my comment is related to the fact that I don't want anyone to think that we reconsidered because we were pressured or, squeaky wheel or anything like that. We feel like there was some missteps along the way in communications and whatnot, and we feel like it's the right thing to do is to reconsider it, right? So I just don't want anybody to think if you don't get the right answer the first time, you can pound on us. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment on this?
Yes,
I was talking to Ms. Bolter today and about this, and apparently she says there's been no locate done on the boulevard. So based on our policy, we can't plant the tree at this point in time. That's what we discussed, correct? That's what you said?
Well, that's not quite. We did discuss that, but no, there was no locate done because it had been decided at a council meeting. So it got kiboshed for some unknown reason.
so when I said, because because you put my name in here.
Yeah.
That I said no tree, I said no tree that night so that we could take it away and review it.
Okay,
I was not intending that I made a decision that there was no tree.
okay.
There was enough discussion, then it came forward, there was a petition. It wasn't about one person, it was about a group of people.
Right.
And we needed to take it away and have more discussion, so I didn't say no tree, I meant no tree right now.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
So what I'm just saying is like, this is in the process now, like there's no locate. So until, based on the process, we have to have a locate.
But I don't know.
Well,
You know,
so,
I'm
Because
just
There's-
asking
Imran's not
after
here.
clarification.
With the cart
Through the
before the
CIO.
horse here.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yes,
And we're not gonna plant it in
No.
February if it's not suitable, so.
so if I may, the process in the past has been to bring in, so yes, the process did get kiboshed. If it hadn't been, the process would have been to have a nursery come in and do an evaluation. And then if their evaluation was favorable, then you'd start the locate process. So we stopped the process.
correct.
Then we got feedback from the nursery that said it's not suitable location for that tree. Council made the decision that on the 13th based on that information. Now you've agreed to reconsider. So if, if council agrees to this, we've still got the issue that a nursery told us it's not a suitable location for that tree. That has to be considered. And even if council were to say, okay, we'll go to somebody else's opinion and accept their opinion, the locates would still have to be done before the tree was planted. Like that's the locates is a fairly minor issue. It just, but you're right, it does mean that the tree could be planted tomorrow. Locates would have to
All
dictate.
all I'm stating is we are in this process.
We've not approved a tree.
No, you're,
We've approved the process.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's,
So if I may, the motion.
yes.
So what I've heard over and over is that the tree to the north of where the planting is proposed is diseased, has limbs that are falling, is, we've heard end of life and potentially will come down in 2 to 5 years is what we were told. I'm sensitive to come down now and it would not be it wouldn't be taking a perfectly healthy tree out of the ecosystem because the tree is not in good condition. So my proposal is that we get the tree assessed, either prune it back in the spring or remove all the dead and dying limbs, and then plant the new tree on the expectation that the other tree will be removed either very soon or within 2 to 5 years. So we, in essence, are replacing that tree prior to the tree coming out. And the arborist or our staff may say, you know what, this tree needs to come out now because it is I went by it a couple times today, and there are limbs that appear to be, I'm not an arborist at all, but appear to be decayed, appear to be at risk of falling. So I wonder if we should look at taking the tree out in the spring, plant a new one, and off we go. So we replace one for one, remove the hazard, and we planted a tree in that area. That's where I think we can come to a solution.
I'll make a comment. I think we follow through the process. We get the experts in, they'll look at the trees again, do a locate, see, and then we'll see what they tell us, because we're not experts.
And the other trees
But
right
that's
there,
exactly what I proposed.
right, the other trees right there, so they're gonna look at it in relation to the space and they can assess it, so.
They do the assessment.
Yeah.
The decision's made.
It's out of my hands. That's what we've had a staff report that made a recommendation based on information from a nursery. I'm not sure how I guess I can talk to them and ask them what's your feeling if this tree gets removed. I'm not sure. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember if they addressed the existing tree and its condition. I don't remember if they did or not.
I don't know, I just got it from memory,
I
so
know
don't
there's been a couple of times where it's been mentioned that tree may have to be removed in 2 to 5 years. I don't know that the nursery people address that. I'd have to check back in.
And the Bolts has brought it to our attention that their arborist commented on that tree as being at that stage of life. So we would need to get it confirmed. And I think if the recommendation is that that tree comes out, then we take it out and plant. Or look at trimming it right back to where it's, and then that may create enough sunlight for the tree, and then knowing that tree would replace the tree that's done.
So I'll talk to the nursery and ask them ask them what their opinion on that tree is and move forward from here.
Do you need a motion, or are we just making a recommendation and report back to us?
Back into the policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what
That's
we're,
kind of what we said.
Go back
Yeah.
to the policy.
Yeah.
Let the policy work
Right.
through.
But it's the evaluating of the existing trees
Yeah,
where we're
it's-
different.
it's a little bit different that way.
That's the direction we're providing, is that the existing tree be evaluated. If it needs to be removed, it be removed and replaced by this tree.
So I don't think there needs to be a motion though for that. I mean, the direction is fairly straightforward on that.
And this will come back to our next council meeting or to operations.
Yes,
Okay.
actually, no, it won't. I mean,
No, because you said
it's, I'll follow the policy.
you will update us by email.
Yeah, I'll let you know what the decision is.
And you'll let the voters know what the outcome is.
We have this village
sorry.
sign
Sorry.
refurbishment.
Sorry, I forgot, I got more stuff too. Go ahead.
So Imran's been working with, our operations manager's been working with Mr. Beatty for quite some time on getting the sign repaired at the corner of Exmouth and Venetian, and that work is finally done. And we're gonna wait till the springtime to reinstall the sign, just to feel it's not, just give it that extra time to stay out of the elements. So Deputy Mayor Grimes asked me to gather some information about the existing signs and when they're installed, and it's difficult. We
Nice for a
know,
ballpark, yeah.
yeah, we know there is about $22,000 spent on signs in 2003, but we don't know where. Like, I don't know if that was parks. That part of the information isn't there. So 22,000 spent in 2003. 5,500 spent in 2010 and 2011. In 2017, there was $6,400 spent, and that would have been the Venetian Exmouth sign and repairs to a sign, the one on the pergola at Waterfront Park. Yeah. So $6,400 spent on those two things in 2017. And then in 2019 were the new signs for, yes, for Griffin and Huron, thank you. There was also some money spent, that's in 2000, but no, that's a different thing. So it's very difficult to know. We just know that money was spent. We don't know which signs it was spent on now going forward. Like I know basically what's happened since 2011 when I've been here. There's been some work done and we know that. Again, I've created a spreadsheet and we've got it listed and we'll be able to track it going forward and we'll say, what money is spent on a sign in what year, so we know. I am going to reach out to Mr. Beatty that did the sign work and ask him if he has records of when, okay, we spent $22,000 in 2003. Do you know where it was spent? And I'm guessing he probably does because he comes in with a portfolio and shows me all the pictures. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's got dates on it too. So
Just to make a comment, would that information not go into our asset management plan?
it would be,
In the
I mean,
future?
it's not part of the essential stuff right now, but
But they're fixtures, right?
Yeah.
So the 22,000 was in 2013,
2003.
2003. Yeah. So for some of the long timers.
I was thinking that was Christina in Michigan around that time.
Do we recall how much a sign is worth new?
Well, $12,000 for the two for Griffin and Huron
So
is $6,000 a piece.
because they're the same size.
Yeah, so to consider refurbishment at half the price to extend almost double the life of the signs seems like a fair investment for a return on that.
And he did say that he felt that we get another 15 years out of these signs if
Yeah.
he does his,
Yeah.
like, if he does his work. And I mean, he spent, he thinks somewhere around between 40 and 50 hours on fixing that sign on Venetian, and it was only
That's a lot of time.
4 years old,
Wow.
right? So the damage on it was because some buddy decided they didn't like it where it was and started kicking it and wrecking it. Where the other signs, it's weather damage. Steve from our Public Works Department showed me a picture today of the sign at Veterans Memorial Park, and there's a bolt and it's rotted around the bolt. And I'm not sure if Dave is aware of that or not. So,
Last time I was down there, I noticed it's got a lot of wood rot.
yeah,
Yeah, it's that shape.
so
No, that could have been 2003 too.
like I'm guessing that 2003 was a lot of parks work.
Like the McRae has one.
Yeah.
It
So
might
it's
really
probably a
have been every-
program.
Because there's no other record of money being spent for about another 8 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I believe, I'm not sure about this, but there's 5,500 spent in 2011. We think might be the sign at Michigan and Christina. We don't know for sure because there's reference to money being spent on signs, but there was something that made us think that that might be that. So anyway, back to the proposal for refurbishing, it's $14,000 to refurbish 4 signs. And I mean, we know that this takes, Mr. Beatty spends a lot of time on these. It takes him fairly substantial amount of time to get the work done, and he would like to get at it so that they can be done and back out for. And he talks about taking one at a time, so he's not going to take all 4 signs he wants to do work on. They are going to come down. He's taking it back to his shop. He doesn't work on site on them, so he just take one at a time.
Do you think he can do 4 signs in a year? Maybe some of the costs will go into the following year.
He seemed to think if we
Okay.
let him get started at it now,
Okay.
that he would get it all done this year.
And I have one question. Why are you proposing this to be a MAT tax expense?
Just, we gotta find money to pay for it somewhere, and I just thought that was it. Like, I think
I mean, I think
They
it lines
draw-
up with tourism.
not that they draw people into the village, but there are people that comment about how nice the signs are.
Yep.
And so I think they're kind of they're a welcoming thing to the village.
But you don't want it to come out of that tax?
Well, it's maintenance of a municipal asset, and I just don't know that it, I just think we should be doing the MAT tax on some saving for higher profile. It's like the playground that we're
Well, yeah, I
proposing.
know, because this.
And I just worry when we use it as almost a petty cash fund to pay little things, then we're not going to achieve the goals of the bigger, high
I was
profile
thinking
tourism things.
would help our operations budget.
Mhm.
We didn't have to.
It'll be a capital, like,
Capital,
one way or the
right.
other,
Okay,
one way
I
or the
mean,
other, it's capital.
we don't even have to determine that right now.
No, we don't. You can make, we
We can
can,
wait, see
can
what we do
authorize-
budget,
Yep.
where it should line up.
But I think, yeah, I think we should authorize it as part of the capital budget. And then at capital budget time, we can decide to move it
Okay.
somewhere if we're struggling to.
Exactly, and when we see, where all the math goes and.
And then,
Yeah.
and then you're recommending approval now because Mr. B has implied that he has the time now. If we wait, he may get busy and delay this, or
well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, if we give him approval now, he's ready to start now. If we don't give him approval to the end of March, then it doesn't start to the end of March. He's not necessarily saying he expects a whole bunch more work to come in. He has time now,
and then the one question, if we move forward with this, can you put the Venetian sign over in front in Exmouth? So that, 'cause that's our busiest little intersection,
he's gonna check on that.
Okay.
He did talk about that.
because Venetian's been gone so long, and people probably moving there.
Does look a little funny out there because there's a pole. that's
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
in the middle of a boulevard all by itself, but he did talk about checking to see if signs are kind of swappable. Yeah.
So someone who hasn't done budget yet, when items like this are coming up, is it gonna be hard to find, like, not seeing the whole picture? I find it hard to vote on this. Whereas if our budget's done earlier in the year when capital projects come up like this, then we would already have them approved in the budget, right? We're gonna, like you said, we'd have to wait till March. But because I haven't been through it, I find it hard to vote on individual matters at council meetings when I haven't seen the budget as a whole.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what we're working with.
Yeah. Well, I can tell, one thing I can tell you is we'll be working with probably, generally, we start with $2 or $3 million in requests and have $1 million to spend. Right?
Right, so how do we know that this, like, I don't know what the other priorities are at this point. So how do I know for sure that these signs are gonna be top priority of some other, and having been through the water budget, when we're talking about things that will stop the water plant from operating, are there other items like that in public works or at the arena that we're gonna be faced with over the signs? That's just my concern when
No,
we're
that's
voting on these
reasonable.
as individual items when we haven't seen the whole budget.
Yeah, that's a reasonable question. And I mean, I think, from our standpoint, this is something like these signs are something that, when people are coming into the village, it's kind of the first thing they see and.
I don't disagree that these aren't important. It's hard for me to prioritize what are gonna be, like, what, I just
Yeah.
can't.
We normally don't do, like, we haven't done any pre-approvals. Have we?
There seems to be
Right, I mean, right
one
now.
a year.
Right
Yeah,
now.
there should be one a year around
One
now.
year,
that
because
we-
that's not something we normally do very often. This is done for a specific reason. Before, a previous time it would be done so they could go to tender. Because we have an option to maybe, to do some from that or something. I think this should not be an impact. I think there would be money there for this from another source.
May I ask, I'm trying to figure where the fourth sign is.
It's the one, so there's Venetian light in front. Fourth one is. let me just-
Oh, yeah, I got the fourth. Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I got it.
I drove by four. I drove by three of them.
There's 13 altogether,
13 signs.
13 signs in the village.
Which are four welcome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's,
If I may, regarding Councilor Drury's concern, the south facing signs seem to be in the worst shape as far as fading and refurbishment. We've done one of the south facing ones on finishing through vandalism. Should we approve the front Expo sign now and then move the other two to budget? And that way we can get started on it.
Well, that's, I mean, that's a good plan because it's not gonna get that full list.
So we approve the one now, so we
Yeah.
can work into one, that south facing one, which is the most faded, gets
So
refurbished.
you're tossing them some work now and
Yeah.
then you can regroup.
And we'll say we'll approve the other two, most likely as part of our.
In March.
yeah, that's a reasonable approach. I think.
And that reduces that. If we decide we're only gonna refurbish the one this year, then we do the next one.
Well, when you do budget, you know, well, wait a minute,
Yeah,
then you can stop.
we've only committed
Yeah.
to 3,000 instead of the 13,000.
And I think we should have them go take a look at Veterans Park too.
I agree.
because it's,
Yes,
It is in rough shape. I've seen it.
you might even escalate that priority.
that's a reasonable.
Yeah, that's good.
What's the word for it? Compromise.
Compromise.
Yeah.
Are you making that as a motion? You need a second?
Do we need motions for this? Yeah, I guess.
This one, yeah.
Yes, a motion that the
Budget.
the sign at front next month be approved for immediate repair and refurbishment. And that the remaining signs go to capital budget and that the vendor be asked to check the sign at Veterans Memorial Park.
All in favor?
I was just confused as to what the,
On your, so what's gonna happen, I'm gonna contact the nursery to come and take a look at the tree. We're gonna do an evaluation on the existing tree and get their opinion on whether we should move forward with planting of a new tree, removal of the existing tree, get their advice on how we should move forward.
so the reconsideration that everyone approved was for,
Just have them come and look and start the process.
So we removed the denial of a tree. And we now, with our new policy, are asking the nursery to evaluate the tree to the north. And whether it should be removed and replaced with a red nut tree.
okay, but would it have to be removed first
No.
before you plant? it?
We're asking.
That's what we're gonna get advice
Their
from the
opinion.
nursery.
Okay,
Sorry for the confusing.
Yeah, we were all over the place.
thank you.
Thanks. Third dog.
Yeah.
And
See, I have no.
That's what was just added.
so
Just
we
showed
can
up.
table this and this lady called yesterday or today. So we can table it. We have a bylaw that states 2 dogs,
Yeah.
unless they're 12 weeks old or younger. So if they have a litter of puppies, they can stay, but
Makes sense.
only 2 adults.
Just through your worship, the CAO, my understanding is this bylaw is gonna get reworked.
We are, yeah,
Yeah.
Kelly and I are working on,
Okay, because I know, checking, for lack of other, Sarni's got a bylaw, they'll allow their dog, but at a significant cost, like $425. Wow. So, just saying that,
Well, I know those houses here already have.
oh yeah, we know that, we know, right? But it's just saying
Counselor
there is
Burgess.
a significant cost involved in that, and, we need to, when we redo
Yeah.
the bylaw, we need to look.
Cheaper than a
Yep.
third child.
Auburn.
Counselor Burgess?
I'm just curious how this could be affected by some of the population density stuff that we're hearing. About trying to have more people living on the property.
More dogs.
No, but just saying,
Yeah.
if I divided my
Yeah.
home into a 2-family home and we each had 2 dogs, would we be prepared for that? Just something to consider.
Mhm.
Because I know when our planning department has been here, they're saying they're allowing
Yep.
an extra dwelling on a property that you could rent. And what if that person had a dog? So just something to consider as we go forward with that. Then we were reworking it.
Well, if you have a granny suite, which I just bought a house with one. I never thought about it. That person had a dog and the people in the other part of the house.
Yeah.
Could have
Two.
two dogs. Do they
That's what,
count
that
as
was the
separate
first thing I
families?
thought of, just with adult children living
Yeah.
at home, if they can't afford to buy a home, because
Yeah.
home prices are getting expensive.
Yeah.
Just- I don't
just-
know, food for thought, I guess.
I didn't think about that. but
Yeah, the bylaw doesn't say
We
per
don't know that.
home, it says 2 dogs per household, or per
for-
property.
Yeah, per
Per
property.
address.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to think about it.
So,
And
yeah,
rent.
just even as a rental
No
or,
dogs.
You can't say that. No, not very
But no, those are good points. We can
Right.
yeah.
see if we can address them in the new bylaw.
So should we be tabling this until you create a new bylaw and then, but how do we, these people have now admitted they have a third dog.
Well, no, my understanding of this
Hypothetical?
person is she's looking at potentially fostering for the Humane Society. I believe she already has 1 or 2 of her own. And she, my understanding from what the little conversation I've had with her is that she already has 1 or 2 of her own and she's looking at foster.
So I, if we can, we'll redo the bylaw, if we can have a clause in there that grants some leniency to fostering of dogs, or, because the rescue dog business is very important, and if we can find a way to allow that temporary accommodations, I think
But
that's,
show it.
Yeah.
Like show your contract,
yes, yeah,
or else I could say I'm doing it.
oh, yeah,
Just,
but somehow
Paper.
there's a way to
Yeah.
accommodate that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slippery slope when
Yeah.
you start. Look and see what some others are doing.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Tim, do you have any new business?
No, I do not.
Council Dury, do you have any new business? Council Burgess?
Sure, I'll throw a shout out to the Point Edward Blackhawks U18 team that lost in the finals at Silver Stick in Pelham. They've represented the village well, battled hard. Came up 1 goal short in the finals, but the kids
It was
really
close.
represented our village well and the way they competed and conducted themselves.
Good to hear.
I just have one, acknowledgement of the great work that our firefighters did in Fairwinds Lodge Fire. They were called in among other fire departments, and from what I've heard as feedback, they represented our village very professionally. Contributed a lot to the safe extinguishing of the fire, and we should be thankful that all those men and women were available and maintained coverage for us while we slept.
Yeah.
And served our neighbors.
I know there's some
pretty well.
things coming
Yeah.
officially.
Yeah.
Is that yours? Okay, it's just, when we had police board last Thursday, we raised the issue of the cars parking overnight on the road in not obeying the bylaw because we had such mild weather. So, such sergeant said he was gonna write that down as a task and get on it. There was a couple of residents here from St. Clair Street, so there was quite a discussion around as the bowlers and speeding and the whole road plan and so 2 things out of that. The sergeant said that he was going to go away and set up some more focus patrols. He also had told them about the number of focus patrols he'd already done this year, the ride programs. Like he went through all of that, but he said he specifically went away and said he'd get another focus patrol based on comments that they're still speeding on that street. Then he's going to set up the speed spy again to confirm, like to get an idea of traffic numbers and if there's, when the speeding is occurring, is it 7 o'clock or whatever. Like, so he's going to get an updated data on that. We also talked about the incident at the Point Edward Arena, and he's going to follow up on that, about getting some thank yous out. Talking within his organization about thanking people that were involved in using the defibrillator. And we also talked a little bit about tomorrow night's public meeting on St. Clair Street, and would affect the police and their facility, which is on Michigan and St. Clair. And shared with them the materials, we're gonna send it to them, stuff from MIT. And so that was just the things that came out of that meeting.
One comment on what you said there. The officer did, or the sergeant did commit to actually patrolling himself on St. Clair Street the next day. He said, I will commit that I will be on St. Clair watching myself. So he took ownership right away, which was nice to see.
And I drove up Michigan all that day.
So the one resident, if you didn't hear it, the one resident was concerned about the speed trailer and says that we were parking a trailer against the bylaw on the road. And the sergeant took that one immediately and said, that's a safety device, right? You can't equate your boat that's parked without, being attached to a speed trailer. So we shut that one down.
And he also mentioned that there's cones around.
Yeah, and the
Safety
cones,
cones,
that's
right?
right,
So
yeah.
like that's.
But And then just as a reminder, the public meeting on St. Clair Street is tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the community hall.
Will there be refreshments served?
Maybe
Bringing
they'll open
beer?
it
Greg?
I decide whether I'm going or not.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. I did attend the meeting yesterday. It was quite interesting. The Minister of Natural Resources was in town at the research park and had a tour. And I honestly feel like he was sincerely impressed by what he saw at the research park. And he didn't know how much work was going on in this area, leading in green energy. And he said this community could be a model, that research park could be a model for other communities on the work that they're doing. And he was taking that away to talk about back in Toronto. So he really sounded sincere. Sorry, Ottawa, sorry. Marilyn Gadu was there. She was there too. So, yeah. We toured all the facilities, standing up with the round table and all the people that were invited to be there. Okay, that's all I have. And just one more thing, sorry.
You're the chair.
No, I'm just thinking, so just as a discussion comes up, so I was to be at a meeting in Wyoming on Thursday, that's canceled already because they're anticipating bad weather. And then I had board meeting for laws and we're doing plan tour for new members and stuff, that's canceled. So there's all this anticipation of the storm that starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't come, all that Thursday just got cleaned out.
Would, if it happens, would we schedule a second open house for St. Catherine? If people aren't allowed to get able to get in
No.
there.
Never thought about it because it
Yeah.
starts sometime on Wednesday, but into Thursday.
I look, it looks like for like
6 a.m.
6 a.m. on Wednesday. And then maybe we can give heads up to the public works staff that
That's Wednesday.
we are planning a meeting there. They can even just allow the front lot, like get it at least. Stay over 7.
Yeah, well. across the bridge to
Yes,
get to it.
yeah.
I mean, everybody, even our staff's anticipating because there's all these notes coming through and alerts and everything, but is it really going to be, or is it 10?
Yeah.
Or is it 20?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Does it really get here? But
Never know.
all my meetings were canceled Thursday anyway, so.
Yeah, 3 days.
No, they just moved it all into another day, so it just screws things. Hey, I'm done. Sorry, sir. Yeah. Okay, we'll do the bylaws, bylaw number 3.
We'll move, we table bylaw number 3. That we discussed. Yeah.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay, bylaw number 4.
I'll move that bylaw number 4, bylaw to adopt policies for the closure of a municipal road be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this 24th day of January 2023.
All in favor? Bylaw number 5. Okay, thank you.
Move that
bylaw number 5, being a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2023 for the corporation of Village of Point Edward be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 24th day of January 2023.
I can second it.
All in favor?
Are you clear on what that bylaw was for?
Yeah, I read it, so I think so. Yeah.
This sets us up to start taking the taxes again next week,
For,
March 1st.
yeah, yeah.
But you have to do it every year.
I'll move bylaw number 6, for 2023, being a bylaw for current expenditures for the Village of Point Edward to be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this day, 24th of January, 2023.
Councilor Drury. All in favor?
This one's a little more complicated, like it's a little,
Mhm.
it's kind of vague. It allows us to borrow money if we need to.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We haven't done it for years. We
Right.
wouldn't do it without coming back to council and talking. This is just
It's just some of that
something you
annual,
have to
the
have in
annual
place.
stuff that,
And we have a percentage we can borrow, like it's
Yeah.
not unlimited, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's not.
No, I knew that
Yeah,
there's like, there's a
yeah.
percentage based on our income, right?
Yeah.
Liability, or you got.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to, I need a resolution to go on camera.
I'll move the council adjourn for an in-camera session at 6:52 PM to discuss personnel matters about an identifiable individual.
I'll second that.
I'm gonna find out.
All in favor?
If all in favor. So,
File break?
yeah,
Thank
so
you.
we will not, like, when we come out of council, out of in camera, we'll be adjourning. Just so for anybody that's listening or anybody that's here in the chambers, we left it at the end deliberately so that we wouldn't impact people.